Okay. Beta. I'm gonna show y'all boys where I'm from, man. I'm from that. Like what it is, what it do. Big boss coming through, switch your lanes, grip it grain, pop truck and run blue. That's playing. It's the big boss out, boss down, Cape Poke through the door. Hit the top to the box, fuck get my solidical. Remember, sometimes don't last. Good people do it on yourself. Caught him in the foul line, maybe matter. Peak game, 84s on Wood Swing. Turki Alalshikh. Gotta learn this boxing game. Let's talk about it. Turki Alalshikh is putting on all these cards with all these names, you know, and they look good on paper. But when these fights happening, they not selling. You know what I mean? And that's because old Turk got to learn the boxing game. He got to learn to market and promote his fighters. It's like they think, oh, we got him. Having a name is enough. It's like, no, bro, you got to promote these boys, man. You got to promote the fight. You know? You can't just be out here just, all right, I made the fight. It's like, bro, you got to catch the eye of the consumer. Especially if it's somebody that don't really know anything about boxing, right? You have to find a creative way to basically catch the eye of the consumer. The promotional company that does a good job of that's PBC. PBC does a phenomenal job of catching the eye of the consumer. Now, right now, they got to do Amazon Prime. They're trying it out. And, you know, they don't have a lot of fight dates this year, but I'm pretty sure it's going to increase over the next couple of years, you know, or they may like do a dual thing where they doing Amazon Prime pause and they may find another streaming service to stream their fights on. You know what I'm saying? Heck, PBC fighters, a lot of them been fighting on Turki cards, you know? So, Carlos Adames is a PBC fighter. I think David Morrell is a PBC fighter, you know? They've been fighting on what's the name? Fight cards. Erickson Luba's a PBC fighter. He's fighting on Pro Box TV. Like, you know, just because it's not a predominantly a PBC card and it's not on Amazon Prime, don't mean that PBC ain't got nothing going on. You know, they fighters still fighting. You know, PBC still getting compensated for their fighters, you know, fighting on other fight cards. You know what I'm saying? So, all this PBC slander and PBC is not doing this and they're not doing that and they're not, man, they still getting it in. You know what I'm saying? I think that, I told y'all why I think PBC get a lot of hate because of Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather. Anything Floyd Mayweather's attached to, they finna hate on it. If Floyd Mayweather was cool with Turki wouldn't be so beloved, right? We just gonna keep it 1,000. If Floyd Mayweather started endorsing Turki, or he was the first one to introduce Turki Alalshikh, they wouldn't. No. So it's because of Floyd why PBC gets all that hate, but the numbers don't lie. You know, Turki Alalshikh put that card on with Better Beef and Bivol and had Shakur and had, you know, Martin Bacoli, Joseph Parker, and, you know, all this stuff, and they did 45,000 pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So, we're not here to try to cap and be like, oh, man, they're killing PBC. Bro, you would think they would be. You know what I mean? On paper, you know, this is a fire, you know, the card that they finna have July 12th is a fire card. You would think on paper, you know, the cards they gonna have, that Canelo card, against William Skull, the Ryan Garcia Fatal Fury, you know, card and all them. On paper, that's a fire card. They got names. But we need to see those numbers. And if those numbers ain't matching up, I'm sorry. And then you got fighters who are on the fight card complaining, Teofimo Lopez, about where's the promotion for the fight. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say you gotta market your fighters. So all this stuff about PBC ain't, it's just slander. PBC so-called been going out of business since what, 2018? Yeah, they're broke. They're going out of business. They don't have any money. That's why they keep moving Tank's fights around and blah, blah, blah. The first time they moved Tank's fight around was because of the venue. The venue didn't, they had a game or they had something going on that day. And I'm talking about Toyota, right? And I'm not going to lie to you. Toyota ain't enough to hold a Tank fight. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep it 1,000, I would have that mug like that. It's called Dyken Park now, which is lame, but Minute Maid. It's forever going to be Minute Maid in my book. I'm from Houston. You know what I'm talking about? That's the Astros Stadium. It's going to be Minute Maid forever. But somewhere like that. Canelo fought there back in the day. I think Tank can fight at Minute Maid. I think that's a more suitable, arena for him than a Toyota. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? But Turkey got to learn to promote. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. I mean, yeah, you throwing money around. That's cool. You getting fights done. They getting made. And that's awesome. But at the end of the day, bro, we got to keep this mug 1,000. We got to keep it real. You got to promote your fighters in order to get your return of interest back. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And I think Turkey is starting to figure that out. He was throwing out all this money at first. But now he's starting to figure it out. Like, man, I ain't paying you, $7 million. I'm not gonna pay you that. I'm not paying you $7 million for no reason. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to. I'm gonna pay you $3 million. Pay you $3 million, and then So he's starting to figure out that I'm not gonna just be throwing money around. He's starting to see. But at the end of the day, still got to promote. You still got to get ahead of the car, promote your fighters. You know what I mean? And that may take away from the fighters getting, if a fighter, you paying him $5, you might have to pay him $4. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk. You might have to pay him $4. You might have to pay him 3.5. You know what I mean? Because you want to spend maybe 1.5 in promotion. You know what I'm saying? Getting it on these networks, getting it at gas stations, getting it on social media, to where you open Instagram, it's a flyer, it's something for it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. So, hopefully Turkey could do that. You know what I'm saying? He's young in his boxing game. He's starting to figure stuff out, though. And that's what I see in Turki Alalshikh. I'm not going to lie, I'm seeing the growth. He's starting to see, like, man, I ain't getting my money back. I ain't into wasting money. And all these sack chasers on the internet, Turkey doesn't care. I'm telling, man, he care. He care about wasting money, right? Because he's not getting his return of interest back. You making these fights, and let's say he invested into a fight card, and let's say his budget was $15 million. So he put $15 million into the card, and he only getting back $2 million. That's a loss, right? He should get back more, as far as his merchandise and concession stands and all that. He should be getting all that back, and maybe even more. So, but Turk figuring it out, man. He figuring it out. But y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Boss go.